Riverina.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Keeping faith with voters, with the public, is important, and it comes down to a matter of trust. And at the moment, political trust is at a very big low, unfortunately. Now, I appreciate what other members, those opposite, have said about giving Australians a tax cut. And we hear that, we understand that on this side of the House, and we are the parties, the Liberals and Nationals, of giving people tax breaks, because we understand how the economy works. We understand how important it is, particularly in a time of a cost of living crisis, how vital it is for people to be able to have more disposable income, for people to take home more of the money that they earn. And I think that line that Labor keeps using, taking home more of the money they earn, was actually pinched from our last set of talking points when we were in government, because that's what we stand for. That's what we stand for, and that's what we delivered. That's what we delivered. Indeed, I know when I was the small business minister, the tax rates went to their lowest point since before World War II. And through successive treasurers, we have argued for lower taxes. We have delivered lower taxes. And I'm proud to be giving this speech alongside the member for Hume, a very good friend of mine, and the shadow treasurer, who, like me, comes to this place and wonders why the Labor members don't talk about the stage 1 and 2 tax cuts. I appreciate we're in the stage 3 discussion now, but stages 1 and 2 helped lower and middle income earners, families, workers. If you have a look at the Australian Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman's website, and I urge all small businesses to utilise ASBIFIO, because it is a very good place at which to get information when running your small business. It shows that the number of businesses between 0 and 19 employees is a little bit over 2.5 million. The total number, when you take in the medium-sized businesses, 64,500, and the large businesses, medium-sized up to 199 employees, and the large businesses 200+ employees of nearly 4,900, it amounts to 2,589,873 businesses. That's a lot of businesses. Those businesses, and particularly those small businesses, are the ones who are helping to run the economy, helping to make Australia's balance of payments, helping to pay the bills to keep the nation's lights on. Although I shouldn't mention that at the moment, because Victoria is going through a terrible state with power outages, and I think that's just the start of worse things to come as we have this crazy push to going away from traditional power sources, but that's another point altogether. But what we are seeing with this debate, with the Treasury Laws Amendment, Cost of Living Tax Cuts Bill 2024, and all the associated arguments with it, is a betrayal. It's an absolute outright betrayal by those opposite, and particularly the Prime Minister, on Australian voters, because prior to the election, and even after the election, even up to Treasury decided to model these figures, he said, and those opposite said, that stage 3 tax cuts were enshrined in legislation. They were in law. They did, I hear the Shadow Treasurer say. They were law. They weren't going to be changed. They weren't going to be altered.
LAW. Oh.
They were part of what Labor said. Trust us, vote for us, all will be well. All will be right. You can count on us. Well, the Australian public now know that they cannot count on Labor. And they can't count on Labor when it comes to stage 3 tax cuts. They can't count on Labor when it comes to too much of anything, because what we have seen from this Labor government since coming to power in May 2022 is a change to the Murray-Darling Basin, where productive water is going to be taken away from farmers, given to the environment. That's going to cause less food to be grown. That's going to cause local grocery prices to go up, and that's going to cause imported food to come into this country at a higher rate than what was otherwise the case. What we've seen is Labor put in place a truckie tax. What we've seen is Labor put in place a biosecurity tax just this week, where Australian farmers are expected to pay for the biosecurity of imported products from overseas. I mean, in what parallel universe would that otherwise occur? It wouldn't happen in any other country. You wouldn't see Australian products going to any other country and their farmers be expected to pay for our food coming in and the biosecurity thereof. It's just ridiculous, Mr Deputy Speaker. Those opposite declared before the 2022 poll that they would do politics differently. Trust us, they said. We'll be more transparent. We'll be more accountable. Well, it hasn't occurred. It hasn't materialised. The Prime Minister has backflipped on a key election promise, and if he's prepared to backflip on this, what else is he prepared to do? What else is to come? What else is Treasury modelling as we speak to hurt the Australian public, to hurt Australian investors, to hurt Australian families, to hurt Australian small businesses? Because, and I know it sounds glib and trite, but small businesses are the backbone of the economy. Yeah. They are, and they're not getting any joy from this government. They're not getting any hope from Labor.
But they won't hurt union officials.
They won't hurt union officials, Shadow Treasurer. We've just heard how, newsflash, that the ACTU has agreed with these tax, these tax laws. Well, who would have thought, Deputy Speaker? Who would have thought that? Now, after the news broke that Labor would betray its commitment to stage 3 tax cuts, I had contact with Matthew Higginson. He's from the town of Coolamon. I know the Shadow Treasurer knows that little town very, very well, just 40 kilometres from Wagga Wagga. Now, Mr Higginson is a father of 7, soon to be 8. Congratulations on that score. He works full-time. He's the sole breadwinner for his family. Not unusual in the bush. On top of the kids, that he also provides financial support for his 75-year-old father, Michael, who lives with him. Now, he says he doesn't receive any family tax benefits nor any other financial subsidy or support from the government. That's what he says. He's got a mortgage worth $500,000. He was quite prepared to share this with me and quite prepared to share it publicly. He was looking forward to the stage 3 tax cuts to provide him some breathing space against inflation, out of control on Labor's watch, and Labor's cost of living crisis. And it is Labor's cost of living crisis because it has occurred on Labor's watch. Matthew is one of the earners between $146,000 and $200,000 who those opposite decided does not deserve the tax break that was previously legislated, previously agreed upon, previously all shared policy. He's one that promised. People such as Matthew are not ultra-wealthy. They're not. All he wants to do is provide for his growing family, pay his dues. He gets that. And it's so tough when those opposite are actively setting out to make his life more expensive. People such as Matthew across the country now know that Labor's word means absolutely nothing. Absolutely diddly squat.
Nada.
Why should anyone trust the Labor government when they can so blatantly fib, when they can so blatantly breach trust and faith with Australians? Just be upfront. That's what Matthew and others want. Just tell us what you're going to do. But it also comes back to the fact that you don't ever believe what Labor says they're going to do. You have to just watch and wait and see what they actually do when they get elected. And we all know it's the same old story. Say one thing before the election, do completely opposite after it. It reminds me, this betrayal, of Labor's election commitment to reduce power prices by $275. Hands up all of those who've seen that $275 price reduction in their power bills. I thought so. I thought so. They're all very busy, Deputy Speaker, looking down at their talking points provided by the Labor Dirt Unit.
Pretending they're preoccupied.
On their phones, probably looking at how many emails they're getting in from disillusioned constituents. Disillusioned constituents.
Have a look at the forward prices there.
Now, no one's seen their power prices go down. They did come down on our watch. They did come down. In the last 2 financial years, no, not rubbish at all. Not rubbish at all. Minister, in the last 2 financial years of the coalition government, household electricity prices came down. We've got a couple of speakers here, one at the dispatch box and one next to me, but the facts are the same, 8%, and for businesses by 10 to 12%. See, we know the figures. We know the figures because our constituents are telling us, yes, power prices did come down under you, and why are they so high under Labor? They want to know why. They want to know why there's been that breach of faith, that breach of promise, that breach of trust. And you only have to see...
Honourable members,
get some facts, Jed.
Member for Kew.
She's fact-free.
Honourable members, I mean, and I don't mean to... I'm nearly calling a point of order on you, because member for Kew, you started it.
He's passionate, you see. He's absolutely passionate, and so he should be, because he is the shadow treasurer and he looks opposite and he sees the member for Rankin, who ain't no Paul Keating, let me tell you. Who certainly isn't no Paul Keating, and he's certainly not of that ilk where Labor treasurers actually understood. And Michael Egan, the former New South Wales treasurer, longest-serving state treasurer in New South Wales history, who died just the other day, and God rest his soul, they understood reality. Michael Egan and Paul Keating, they actually did get how people were feeling, because they were in touch with their constituents. This mob aren't. Certainly the member for Rankin is not. Let's just have a look at 18 months of Labor and what has actually gone up in that time. Cost of food, 9% increase. Cost of housing, 12%. That's if you can afford a house. It is so hard. So hard, and we heard how the housing minister, the member for Franklin, was going to, under her watch, had a program to build, I don't know, it was 1 million houses, then it became, who knows, tens of thousands. I don't think we'll ever see a house built. And then when I raised the issue about the Victorian state Labor government shutting down the timber industry, she interjected on me during a matter of public importance, or a speech I was making, an earnest point, and she said, "What's timber got to do with housing?" or thereabouts. I mean, really? I mean, that's what houses are built out of. But anyway, I digress. Cost of insurance, up 22%. Cost of insurance. Cost of electricity, up 20%. Just don't mention that in front of Victorians at the moment who are in darkness. Cost of gas, up 27%. Those don't want gas anyway. They want it eliminated. And then the Treasurer comes to the dispatch box during his last budget speech and talks about the things we sell overseas. Can't talk about agriculture or coal or iron ore or gas. Can't dare mention those forbidden words, coal and iron ore and gas, the things we sell overseas, he says. And he was the first treasurer in 25 years not to mention the word infrastructure in his budget speech. Oh, that's just shameful. That is just shameful. But no wonder he didn't mention it, because Labor put in place just prior to the election, a couple of weeks beforehand, a 90-day review into all of the infrastructure that was being built under the Liberals and Nationals. And how long do you reckon that 90-day review took? I shouldn't start the member for him off again, because I won't ever get another word in edgeways. But it was more than 200 days. More than 200 days. But that's pretty good for Labor, really, when you think about it, 90 to 200. I mean, that's pretty close for Labor. This isn't pretty close. Deputy Speaker. This is an outrage, and whilst we appreciate that people do need tax breaks, it just goes to show that Labor fibbed again.
I thank the